You know, we all do it. We make these instant judgments about people. But what happens when we get it completely fundamentally wrong? Today, we're diving into a story that's all about that. It's a story about what we think we see, what's really there, and an incredible act of kindness. This is The Kind Truck Driver. So, this story, which is just unbelievably powerful, it comes from the book Happy Path. And trust me, it's one of those stories that really sticks with you. It kind of challenges the way we look at pretty much everyone we meet. Okay, let me ask you something and be honest. Have you ever sized someone up in a split second, made up a whole story about who they are, and then later found out you couldn't have been more wrong? Just keep that thought in your head as we get into this. All right, so let's set the scene. Picture a long, empty stretch of road. You know, the kind of place where you really hope you don't get car trouble. Well, of course, that's exactly what happens to a woman named Mrs. Krimmel. Her tire goes flat. And the worst part, she has no idea how to fix it. She's just stranded, miles from anywhere, totally and completely helpless. Just as she's starting to really feel that despair creep in, she hears a noise. A car, or something is coming. But, you know, this isn't exactly the rescue she was hoping for. It's this massive truck, and it is flying down the road. It's not slowing down one bit. It comes roaring past her at such a terrifying speed that she literally has to jump out of the way to avoid being hit. And in that one instant, all that fear she just felt, it flips. It turns into pure, hot anger. And her mind just kicks into gear, starting with that first, immediate judgment. This is so relatable, right? We do this all the time. In her head, he's not just a person in a hurry. Oh no, he's arrogant. He's entitled. He thinks he's the king of the road. And just look how fast this escalates. It goes from selfish driver all the way to this guy should be in jail. I mean, that's a full-blown character assassination, and it happened in, 3 seconds, maybe? But here's the thing. Just as she's standing there, fuming, thinking all these terrible thoughts, something happens. Something that's about to blow that entire story she just created to absolute pieces. So she's just watching that truck get smaller and smaller in the distance, her anger getting bigger and bigger with every second. But then, she hears that sound again. You are not going to believe this. The very same truck is now coming back toward her in reverse, speeding backwards down the road. It's a crazy sight, and he pulls up perfectly right next to her car. So this guy hops out, and he is the total opposite of the monster she just imagined. He's pleasant, he's helpful, he just calmly asks if her tire is flat, gets the keys, and before she can even process what's happening, he's changed the tire. Just like that. So at this point, Mrs. Krimmel is just completely floored, totally bewildered. But the real shocker? Oh, that's still to come. Of course, she reaches into her purse to try and pay him for his trouble, and he just politely refuses. Just glad to do it, he says. Now, absolutely nothing makes sense to her. This kind man is the same person she just mentally condemned. And it's right then, as he's turning to get back into his truck, that her eyes land on a detail she had completely missed before. And this one little thing, it changes absolutely everything. And this is the whole point of the story, right here. Her perception was of a selfish man in a hurry. The reality? His arms were covered in these huge, awful, painful-looking burns. The man was clearly in immense pain. So, the reason he was speeding, it wasn't because he was a jerk. It was because he was in the middle of a serious emergency. He explains that something had exploded and burned him badly. He was rushing to the hospital in agony, and yet, he still stopped to help a complete stranger. And with that, he gets back in his truck and drives away. He leaves Mrs. Krimmel there on the side of the road, not just with a fixed tire, but with her entire perspective just completely shattered. She doesn't just start the car and leave. She just sits there for a long, long time, just thinking. You can almost feel that silence, can't you? The heavy weight of her misjudgment just crashing down on her. Finally, she bows her head and just whispers this prayer. It's so simple, but so powerful. A plea for forgiveness, not just for this one mistake, but for the very habit of judging so quickly and so harshly. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it?
This story isn't just about a driver on a lonely road. It's a mirror. It forces us to ask ourselves, who have we misjudged? Who's that person we wrote off as rude or selfish, without ever knowing they might have just been on their own painful journey to the hospital?